My blood work came back with my fasting glucose flagged at 103. It's not a health crisis, but it is something I'm not going to ignore either. And when I looked at the protocol that came with my results, two supplements kept showing up: berberine and cinnamon. I'd heard of both, but I'd never really taken either one seriously. So before I just ordered something off of Amazon and hoped for the best, I went deep on the research. And what I found was more interesting than I expected, especially how berberine compares to popular GLP-1 weight loss drugs like Ozempic. And especially when it comes to cinnamon, because most people are buying the wrong kind. So these supplements are supposed to make your life better, so let's put it to the test. But a quick disclosure first. I am not a doctor, and nothing in this video is medical advice. I'm just sharing my own research and experience based on my personal biomarker data. So make sure you always talk to your doctor before starting a new supplement, especially if you're on any medication or managing a health condition. Also, this video is not sponsored. I purchased all of this myself. So here's where this started. This is part of my Superpower blood panel. I did a full video on this service, and that link is in the description. The marker I want to focus on today is fasting glucose. Mine came back at 103. The optimal range is 75 to 86. And while the normal clinical range goes up to 100 depending on the lab, I'm just barely outside of that. But Superpower flagged it as something to address. And honestly, it's not too surprising. I wore a continuous glucose monitor a while back and saw firsthand how my blood sugar responds day to day. This number confirmed what I already suspected. The protocol recommended two things for metabolic health and blood sugar regulation: berberine and cinnamon WS, which stands for water soluble. So before placing my order, I did my homework. You can't talk about blood sugar right now without talking about GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic. They work by mimicking a hormone called GLP-1, which helps your body release insulin, slows your digestion, and signals fullness to your brain. The results most people are getting are real, and the research is strong. So where does something like berberine fit in? Berberine is not a GLP-1 agonist. It does not work the same way. And I want to be honest about that because sometimes the internet tends to overclaim things. What berberine does is activate an enzyme called AMPK, which is your body's metabolic master switch. It improves your insulin sensitivity, helps your liver produce less glucose, and slows carbohydrate breakdowns in your gut. Some of those effects overlap with GLP-1 drugs, which is why you see them compared a lot. But the mechanism is different, and berberine is not a replacement for a medication that your doctor has prescribed. So berberine is one of the most well-researched natural compounds for blood sugar regulation. Some studies have compared it directly to metformin and found comparable effects on fasting blood glucose. That's why people tend to call it nature's metformin or nature's GLP-1. That phrase is a bit oversimplified, but it is not completely off base. For someone like me who is not in clinical diabetes territory but has a flagged marker and wants to be proactive, it is worth taking seriously. So the current protocol that I'm on is one capsule of 550 milligrams of berberine with my largest meal of the day. The berberine supplement I got says I can do up to 2 capsules per day, but I'm gradually working up to that over the course of a month. That ramp up matters because berberine is well known for causing digestive discomfort when you first start it. So starting low and working up gives your gut time to adjust. Twice daily with meals is consistent with most of the clinical studies are using, so that's what I'm aiming for. Now before we talk about cinnamon, I want to cover who should be cautious about taking berberine. You should definitely avoid it entirely if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, because there's evidence that berberine can cross the placenta. Also, if you're diabetic and already on blood sugar medication, berberine can compound the effect and push your glucose too low. It's not a reason to avoid it, but you definitely want to consult with your doctor first. Similarly, if you're on cyclosporin, certain blood thinners, or some statins, berberine can affect how your body processes those medications. So all of those cases warrant a conversation with your doctor before you start taking berberine. Now let's talk about cinnamon. And this is important because most people are buying the wrong kind. There are actually two main types of cinnamon. There's Ceylon and Cassia. Cassia is what is in almost every grocery store, and it's also in a vast majority of cinnamon supplements, unless the label specifically says Ceylon. The difference matters because Cassia contains significant amounts of a compound called coumarin. And in high doses, which is really easy to achieve with a supplement, coumarin can be toxic to the liver. Some European food safety agencies have set daily limits on cassia for this exact reason. Meanwhile, Ceylon cinnamon has much lower coumarin levels. It's also the variety used in most of the clinical research showing blood sugar benefits. So when a protocol says take cinnamon, they mean Ceylon. So check your label. If it just says cinnamon, it's probably cassia. The dosing that I'm following is 400 milligrams of Ceylon cinnamon taken daily, with a meal. Now for Ceylon cinnamon, the risk profile is much smaller. At normal supplement doses, it is well tolerated by most people. But if you have liver disease or are managing diabetes with medication, the same caution applies as berberine. So to summarize, here is my exact supplement protocol for managing blood glucose. I'll put this on the screen so you can screenshot it. In terms of the exact supplements I'm taking, I have found two that are third-party tested and very clean. So Pure Encapsulations Berberine and also this Nutra Harmony Ceylon Cinnamon. Both are linked in the description below if you want to learn more about them. I am also tracking everything with a continuous glucose monitor periodically, so I will have real glucose data to show you in the follow-up video. That's where things are going to get interesting, because then we'll see what the long-term effect of taking berberine and cinnamon are. If you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see videos on other topics, health-related or not, also let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.